Hi there, guys. Sorry I couldn't be here, but I'm getting into the swing of things. Cheers. Anyway, so just a bit of background. I was really inspired by what I saw in Arnhem Land, and after reading about the West Arnhem Fire Abatement Program, I then started to wonder if a similar model could be employed in the Jarrah Forest of the southwest of WA, where I grew up. The southwest Jarrah Forest extends from Perth, south along the Darling Scarp, and then east to Albany. A lot of areas get over 1,000 millimetres of rain, but the wetter regions in the south often have carry forest instead, which is a larger eucalypt with higher rainfall requirements. The southwest of WA is one of the 25 biodiversity hotspots that Norman Myers and co. identified in 2000. While this sounds good, it actually means that there's a particularly high level of floral endemism, and the hotspot is under dire threat from anthropogenic activities. By definition, hotspots have more than 1,500 species of vascular plants that occur nowhere else, and more than 30% vegetation loss due to human activities. The southwest has around 8,000 species, and about 75% of these occur nowhere else. Compared to many other parts of Australia, relatively good fire management is in place. However, when you compare the fire regimes to what was in place prior to European settlement, there doesn't seem to be anywhere near the same frequency. So the big problem I looked at in the southwest is destructive bushfires, that is, fires that are out of control and are hot burns. Before Europeans came, there was a frequent regime of burning under the Noongar people, but upon arrival, disease and displacement by Europeans meant that regimes had changed completely in less than 40 years. The frequency of destructive fire went from about once every 81 years to once every 17 years. It has also been shown that very frequent burning has occurred in the region for at least the last 2.5 million years. In the 1960s and 70s, the government introduced prescribed burning, but being such a huge task, there's nowhere near the same results that were gained by the Noongar people. Even now, there are extremely destructive fires every few years. There were very severe fires within the Jarrah Forest earlier in the year, basically destroying the town of Yarra Loop and taking a couple of lives. An ideal burn cycle would be at least once every 5 years. However, as you can see from a sample in the central Jarrah Forest near where I grew up, that's figure 2, there are large areas that have not been burned for much longer than that, and in fact you can see on the map Yarra Loop. If you look at figure 2 again, you can see that there are reasonably large areas that haven't been burned for over 20 years. In Arnhem Land, the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions actually doesn't have much to do with carbon. It relies on the reduction of methane and nitrous oxide by reducing both frequency and intensity of fires, mainly through early burning. Early cooler burning also allows biological decomposition of biomass, which releases less of these gases than combustion. Over a 100-year period, methane has a heating factor about 25 times greater than CO2, while nitrous oxide is about 298 times greater. Unfortunately, this would not work in the southwest. Firstly, if we were to use traditional fire regimes from the area, they are very frequent, and this sort of regime would not reduce nitrous oxide or methane emissions. Adding another layer of complication, while generally cool fires are required, some plants need hot fires to regenerate or for seeds to germinate. However, cool burning can allow the sequestration of more carbon than hot burns, and sequestration of carbon can be measured under different conditions to find optimal burning in this environment. But when compared to some southeastern eucalypt forests, the carbon emissions seem to be much lower, meaning that if a trial was set up, it might make more sense to do it over east. While the area may be unlikely to benefit in terms of greenhouse gas emission reduction from fire regimes, other aspects stand to gain. Culture, environment, public safety and infrastructure can all benefit from the increased incorporation of Aboriginal ontologies and epistemology into fire management in the region. If an Indigenous protected area was created in the southwest Jarrah Forest and a Noongar organisation was given autonomy over it, much like in many parts of Australia, there would be the potential for a whole host of benefits. The area could create employment, employing Indigenous people, for example as rangers or administrators. There could be economic benefits. IPAs have been shown to be a more cost-effective way of managing land when compared to national parks. Cultural benefits. Using traditional ecological knowledge in the management of land strengthens and passes on this knowledge and supports Indigenous culture. Traditional ecological knowledge may yet have undiscovered benefits in the management of land in the area. For example, Ward in 2004 suggested that the traditional ecological knowledge relating to the condition of Xanthorrhea specimens in the southwest Jarrah forest can be a good indicator of when a burn is due. There also could be biodiversity benefits. IPAs have been shown in many cases to have lower rates of extinction than national parks. There are also opportunities for safety benefits, lowering destructive fire frequency through frequent cooler burns. The most obvious way of achieving all of these would be to convert one of the conservation estates, perhaps Midgeraguru, Wellington, or Lane Pool, to an IPA. A high level of consultation during creation and operational involvement for traditional owners would be ideal and likely have many benefits. Rangers employed in the area could, in addition to fire management, be responsible for the control of feral animals, such as foxes, feral pigs, rabbits, and cats. There may also be an opportunity for the generation of income through charging for hunting feral animals, particularly feral pigs, in the IPA. Other income could come from harvesting non-timber forest products such as quandongs or sandalwood. The fruit is in high demand and the oil can sell for $1,000 a kilogram. A program of this sort has the potential to create a wide range of benefits from the protection of infrastructure, biodiversity benefits, greenhouse gas reduction, public safety, wildfire prevention, to employment, social and cultural advantages. The Jarrah forest, as mentioned, is within a biodiversity hotspot and would likely benefit greatly from Indigenous management. In conclusion, the southwest Jarrah forest is not ideal for nitrous oxide and methane reduction, and the area could be used for CO2 abatement, but it is likely that the southeast forest would be more suitable as they release more carbon. I would also recommend that one of the larger areas of conservation estate be converted to an IPA if there is enough interest from local Indigenous groups. Thank you all. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to field them by email or social media.